Okay, I think we can start. So we are continuing on the main topic of the world of work. I think, yeah, it's the world of work. So we are going to be continuing also on constitutional rights and responsibilities. Do you guys know what the Constitution is? Can one of you tell me what the Constitution is? So none of you is going to tell me.
A constitution is where the rights are kept under the Bill of Rights.
Okay, yes. So it's sort of like the basic principles and the basic laws of the nation or of the country or of a certain group. Because you might find that maybe um someone joins the ANC Youth League and they're like, no, we they have their own constitution and all that. So yes, it's sort of the rights and principles and the laws that have been put together for that. And they determine the powers and duties of the government and guarantees certain rights to the people in it. So whatever is written there, the principles and the mini laws, they actually guarantee certain rights to the people. So you are correct. I just made it just a little bit broader. So with the Constitution of South Africa, we are actually focusing on the Constitution of South Africa. So we have three main values that are outlined in the Constitution. The first one is human dignity. So everyone has the right to have their dignity respected. So it doesn't matter whether a person is disabled, whether a person is light skinned or a person is dark skinned, they deserve to have their dignity respected. So we actually have these values in the Constitution. The second one is equality. People deserve equality. So everyone is equal according to the law of South Africa or before the law of South Africa and according to the Constitution. So it doesn't matter whether a person is old or young or whether a person is disabled, whether a person um, is sick and all that. We all are equal according to the Constitution of South Africa. And then freedom. Um, that's the third main value in the Constitution. This is about being part of democracy and feeling safe in all their decisions. So things like freedom of speech and freedom of movement are part of this value, freedom. So we all have the right to those freedoms according to the Constitution. No one should be discriminated against for their race. So it doesn't matter which race you belong to, you should not be discriminated. Their gender, things like sexism. So you should not be discriminated just because you're a man. That's why you find that we actually, because back in the day, certain jobs did or career paths did not really allow people to work in them. One example is a nanny. So in people didn't see a nanny being a man, but now we have male nannies. So even nurses, nursing was a female profession. However, now we have male professional nurses and male midwives. And then their age. So it does not matter. People should not discriminate against you just because you're old or you're young. Sometimes you find that people discriminate against older people because they're frail and they're old, and you'll hear people saying things like, "Oh, they don't know anything. This person is old." he or she doesn't even know what she's talking about. Sexual orientation. So you should not discriminate against other people, or you should not be discriminated against just because your sexual orientation or preference is different. As long as whatever you do is still within the law, you're not breaking any laws. You should not be discriminated against. Sometimes people who are actually discriminated against are people in the LGBTQ TQ community. So you and sometimes it's so disturbing. Gay men are actually discriminated against, but you find that people are okay with lesbians. So people should not discriminate against that, because it's people's preferences and it's people's sexual orientation. It actually has nothing to do with anyone but that person, where people come from. So you should not be discriminated about where you come from. So you're from the village, and a very remote village, and you don't have access to electricity and all those things. And now people start discriminating against you because of that. It's wrong. And then whether they have a disability. So people discriminate against people who have disabilities, people who are differently abled. So you hear someone saying, why is someone with ADHD looking for a partner, or looking for a boyfriend or girlfriend? But they're human. So people should not be looked down or discriminated against just because they are differently abled. And then culture or language. Some people believe or think that their culture or their language is better than the rest, and that's wrong, because according to the Constitution and the laws of South Africa, we are all in the same boat. We are all equal. And then whether they are married or pregnant. So sometimes people get discriminated against maybe because they are infertile and cannot have kids, or they have kids and they are unmarried. So people should not discriminate against that. It's one of the values that's being put in the constitution, or that's being outlined in the constitution. And then the last one is whether they are rich or poor. Sometimes people actually get discriminated against because they're poor. And now in during COVID, I realized that the first term when we were actually home and all that, and people were not supposed on level 5, and people who are wealthy were like, no, people should stay at home so that this thing can be contained. And now people who are sort of poor and live in poverty were not listening to those people. They were like, they were discriminating against them, saying they're taking from a place of privilege. So sometimes you get those things, people, because now you don't understand the things that we are going through. You think you have a right to speak. Or maybe wealthy people or rich people, you find that when someone who is from a poor background, they don't listen to that person, because what do they know? Just you might find that this person is very smart, but just by the mere fact that your background is poverty, or you're from a poor background, then they just overlook things that that person is actually saying. And then now we're moving on to role models. So a role model is someone you look up to and admire. We all have role models. Um, Sometimes we actually don't even realize that there are good and bad role models. You find that you're just looking up to someone, you admire them, only to realize that this person is actually a bad role model or a bad influence on you. So those two types of role models are good or positive role model, and bad or negative role models. So good role models uphold the constitution. They influence you in positive ways. So these are the people that do well. These are the people that are sort of involved in their communities. These are the people that have positive um, outlooks on life, and even whatever they go through, they always make sure that they find positive ways to deal with whatever they come across in life. And then bad role models can influence you to misbehave or commit crimes. So sometimes people actually do find that they have role models that are horrible. You find that you look up to someone and you don't even realize that they are a crime lord, or they are, if you're a part of a gang. um there was a documentary that was being done on South Africans and the kids. You find that this child is from a household where the parents are poor, they can't do stuff for this child. Now this child resorted to finding being part of a gang, and now these people, maybe they steal and all that. So you find that now this person is looking up to horrible role models just to make sure that they have the money that they think they need. And then now, qualities of good and bad role models. So positive as in good role models, they have these qualities or characteristics. The first one is honest. These people are honest. They have honesty. And then trustworthy. You can trust these people. And then they are humble and confident. So they're not arrogant, that, when you're like, you find that there's someone that has money, and you're like, this person has money, and but they are so down to earth, they're so humble, they don't look down upon people and all those things. um Overcome obstacles. So whatever obstacles or whatever challenges life throws at them, these people are able to overcome those things, and in a positive way. They don't really resort to crime. The example I gave you guys is, a kid who's from a poor background. You find that they resort to going the route of actually stealing and all that. And you find that someone who's actually who has characteristics of a positive role model, whatever little money that they get, now they start selling. You find that this person is at school now, they're selling sweet, they're selling 1 2 3 4, and it started off from there. So they overcome, or they overcame that obstacle in a positive way, making sure that they don't resort to negative things. These people are principled, meaning they actually have a backbone, and they inspire others. So they will inspire you to be a better person, or they inspire others to be better people and to do good, and all those. And then passionate and thoughtful. These people are very thoughtful. They are very passionate about the things that they do, even when they speak, or yes, when they speak, you can see the passion in their eyes and in the things that they are actually saying. And then negative or bad role models, these are the characteristics that they sort of have. They are easily influenced. So you find that this person sways all the way. This person, today they're cold, tomorrow they're hot. If someone comes along, it's like they're a flip flop. They go everywhere. They, as long as they benefit, it doesn't matter. This person doesn't really have principles, does not really have a backbone. They just go with the flow wherever the wind takes them, as long as it makes sense to them. They are arrogant. So there's a thin line between confidence and arrogance. So these people, you can actually just tell that this person is actually overconfident, or is actually arrogant. They are uninvolved in their community, so they don't even have initiatives. They don't even get involved in certain things. You find that there's an initiative that's being started, or maybe it's a cleaning initiative. People are cleaning their community. This person does not even get involved in anything that has to do with the community. They lack clear principles, as I did say, and they battle to live by their values. I did mention that they are flip flops. They go anywhere. They tell you these values today. Tomorrow, someone else comes with something and it looks better for them. They go with that person. The next day, maybe they even go back to the first one. So they are very unsure. They're sort of unstable in a way. Their characteristics are a bit unstable. Your parents or your guardians are probably the most influential people in your life. So, when it comes to role models, the first point of reference are our primary caregivers. When you're still young and you're growing up, the first people you look up to are your parents or your caregivers. That's why sometimes you'll find that a child who is actually a bully at school, you you're like, but this person is a bully and all that, and then you do the research or you investigate, only to realize that this child, this bully, is actually being bullied at home or being abused themselves. So because at home this is being done by the parents or the primary caregiver, they think it's okay to actually come out and do that. So we are influenced by our primary caregivers first and the people around us. And then other leaders in your communities, those are the people that you can look up to, or the positive role models that you can find. Those are religious leaders. But also remember, just because they are religious or teachers and all that, they're not always good. They're not always good. So you just need to look at the characteristics as well, because sometimes we might say religious leaders are very good, and then later things come out that, oh no, this priest was molesting kids or was raping kids. So you have to know the difference between a good and a bad role model, so that you don't end up looking up to bad role models and all that. The second one is teachers. Teachers as well, that those ones who are pedophiles and they target young kids and all that. So just make sure that you know the characteristics, as I did mention them before this. So make sure of that as well. And then it's sports coaches, political leaders, and business people. When you looking for a role model outside home, please make sure and be careful as well. Make sure that the person that you are looking up to or you're working with, you might find that maybe this person is your mentor. You have to make sure that this mentor actually has good characteristics or positive characteristics, because sometimes they might influence you or sway you in the negative way if this person is actually a negative or a bad role model. So we are going back to the three main values that we uphold in the Constitution. The first one I did mention that it's human dignity. So what this means is treat others with respect. Language should be appropriate and be kind and compassionate. Always strive to be kind. I always say be the I in kind, like you are a kind person. No matter how angry you are, try to remain kind all the time. People are battling things that we know nothing about. Treat other people with respect as well, the same way you would like it to be reciprocated if the tables were turned around. And make sure that you speak to people using the language that's appropriate. What this means is don't use vulgar words, don't use names to call people, like don't use bad names and all those things. The second one is equality. Do not discriminate against others who are different, know your rights, and help your community with upskilling. So do not discriminate other people who are different. I did mention that sometimes people are treated differently because they are differently abled. So don't do that. Just because a person is blind and all that doesn't necessarily mean that they should be discriminated against. Knowing your rights is also extremely important, because say now you're walking on the streets and the police just decided to frisk you with no reason. You have a right to say no, and knowing that right will actually help you if you were taken to court. So know your rights so that you can also protect yourself as well and help your community with upskilling as well.
Ma'am,
Mm-hmm.
I have a question.
Okay, shoot.
Okay, about the role model thing.
Mm-hmm.
What if you don't have one? Like on purposely, if it's so bad to have one, why just not don't have one?
Having a positive role model can actually help you, because now if you have a mentor, you're able to see things in a different light. So now you don't have a role model, you don't look up to anyone, and then you just live in your life just for the sake of living your life. Positive role models can help equip you with certain life skills as well. So you might find that
That would
they're helping you with learning new communication skills or interpersonal skills, that you can use maybe later in life when you have a business, or maybe when you have a job as well.
because these days life is so bad it's hard to find someone to actually look up to without them stabbing you in the back.
Yes, that's why I did mention that when you do make sure that this person has good characteristics. However, you can never be 100% sure when it comes to people. People can flip and switch at all times. Just be cautious and be careful as well. so that you are able to protect yourself. Make sure that you take what resonates with you, and the things that don't really resonate with you, you just take a step back.
Thank you, ma'am.
All right. Okay, and then the third one is freedom. Um, Take charge of your own destiny. Um, Take part in democratic processes. Stand up for the freedom of others. Respect others' opinions, religion, cultures, and beliefs. So take charge of your own destiny. Like we were just talking now about role models. You know that you want to learn certain skills and all that. So some role models can teach you the skill sets that you actually want to learn. So make sure that you take charge of your own destiny and you don't take what does not resonate with your destiny. You know what you want, you know the things that you want. You have to make sure that you get those things and you learn whatever you need to. When you get to whatever age, you guys will start um, voting. So do go vote and exercise your right to vote. And so that when you don't really, things don't really work out in the country and we are complaining, you know that you did your due diligence and you actually did vote. At least you did voice your opinion somehow. And then stand up for the freedom of others. So when you see a person being abused, you can actually report that this person is being abused, or maybe their right is somehow being disrespected or being abused. Sometimes people are afraid of speaking up because they think that they are going to be labeled as snitches. Um, you can report it maybe to social workers or police officers without actually being named. You can do it anonymously so that you don't put maybe your life in danger, or you are not labeled with what you don't want to be labeled with. But however, just doing your due diligence and speaking up when someone is being abused is actually a good thing. You're sort of protecting that person's rights as well. And then respect others' opinions, religion, cultures, and beliefs. We are all human beings of opinions and different beliefs and religions and all that. Yes, our environment sometimes shape that. However, because of different backgrounds and all that, you need to respect other people's um, belief system and all that, the same way you want yours to be respected as well. And then these are the other values we actually uphold: the right to family and parental care. That's why sometimes when a child or kids are orphaned, they are taken to an orphanage, or they stay with family members, or they actually find foster homes for them, is because, excuse me, every child has a right to parental and family care. So the responsibility that sort of comes with that is honor, respect, and help your parents. Be kind and loyal to your family. Always be kind, guys. Remember to be kind and honor, respect, and try to be helpful as well. The second one is a right to live in a safe environment. We all have a right to live in a safe environment and all that. Promoting sustainable development, preventing pollution, protecting animals and plant lives. Some people sometimes just decide that they're going to cut trees and they don't even have a reason. So protect plant lives because you actually need them, and animals. Some people actually abuse animals. You hear stories. Whoever has a dog fighting ring, whoever has actually bent a carrot or whatever, or someone killed a tortoise, and so it was so inhumane and all that. It was horrible. So you shouldn't do that. You should actually protect those things and promote taking care of them as well. And with preventing pollution as well, things like littering. You're in town, you're walking, you were drinking some juice, instead of just throwing the bottle down, hold on to it and find a bin and throw it in a bin, or take it home and throw it at home in your bin at home. And then the third one is right to citizenship. Obey the laws of our country, ensure that others do that as well, and contribute to making South Africa a good country or a great country. So, guys, that's it for today. Do you guys have any questions for me? Any comments? Okay, so you guys don't have any questions and all that.
Nope.
Okay. Um, you are going to get homework next week. We are waiting for them to upload it on the LMS system. And when I do get told that homework will be there, I will let you guys know in the WhatsApp group. Okay. All right, guys. Bye. Enjoy the rest of your week.